You are taught that being consistently polite makes people respect you. That belief keeps you weak because it treats respect like a reward for good behavior instead of a calculation of value, boundaries, and consequence. Authority is not granted to the most agreeable person in the room. It is granted to the person who signals that their time, words, and standards are not up for negotiation. Authority reads signals. Most of the signals you were trained to send are quiet admissions of deference. Politeness is a tool. Tools are useful when applied with intent. Tools are dangerous when used by habit. When politeness becomes reflex, you leak status. You train people to expect access without cost. You make their comfort your responsibility. You let them set the terms. Approval is cheap. Authority is not. There are 7 polite patterns that corrode authority. Each one feels safe in the moment. Each one compounds into invisibility. If you recognize yourself in these, do not get defensive. Get specific. See the mechanism. Then shut it off. Over-apologizing for ordinary friction sounds like humility. It broadcasts liability. Every extra apology teaches people to associate you with fault. Psychologists call this self-signaling. Your brain hears your mouth and updates your identity. You start to believe you are always at fault, so you preempt judgment by confessing to crimes you did not commit. Other people accept the frame. Goffman wrote about face work, the ritual by which we all preserve our image in public. When you apologize for existing, you hand your face to someone else. The result is predictable. They handle you. The better play is proportion. Reserve apologies for actual errors. If you made a mistake, own it once, name the fix, and move. If you created mild inconvenience, express gratitude for patience instead of guilt for presence. The point is not to be cold. The point is to stop offering your throat to every minor expectation. Here is the trade: polite on the surface, costly under the surface. Hedging every statement with softeners feels intelligent. It reads as insecurity. The brain uses heuristics under pressure. Confidence is one of them. When you fill sentences with maybe, sort of, just my opinion, people do not hear nuance. They hear that you want distance from your own words. Grice's maxims explain that cooperative speech has quantity and relevance. Hedges that protect accuracy serve clarity. Hedges that protect anxiety undermine clarity. If you know the data, say what it supports. If you're speculating, label it once. Then speak cleanly. Robert Greene calls this saying less than necessary. You can be precise without being timid. The room processes tempo and tone faster than content because of how the auditory cortex prioritizes prosody. Listeners mirror your certainty. If you stutter not because of speech patterns, but because you are seeking permission, the mirror reflects doubt. Say less, mean more. Gratitude and deference rituals are social glue. When you overthank and overpraise, you reframe every interaction as a favor done to you by a benefactor. That feels polite. It makes you a petitioner. Cialdini's reciprocity principle explains that people feel compelled to return benefits. When gratitude is sincere and scarce, it moves behavior. When gratitude is constant, it resets the baseline and cheapens both of you. Machiavelli noted that people are more moved by their interests than by your niceness. Excess thanks does not buy safety. It buys tolerance at best and quiet contempt at worst. Treat equal exchanges as equal. Thank exactly once. Do not stack thanks like a shield. Authority lives in parity. If you want to show respect, bring competence, reliability, or a result. Then let the work imply the gratitude. Being permanently available looks loyal. It trains everyone to devalue your time. Scarcity drives perceived value. Greene wrote about using absence to increase respect. Behavioral psychology shows that variable rewards hook attention, while constant access numbs it. If you answer immediately, at all hours, to any request, you are not signaling commitment. You are signaling that your priorities are negotiable. The nervous system adapts. People get used to your speed. They escalate. Your baseline becomes their entitlement. Then you resent them and blame them for a pattern you reinforced. Set a rational pace. Protect focus windows without apology. You do not need to pretend to be busy. You need to be unavailable by design when you are doing the work that funds your credibility. If something is truly urgent, the exception will be clear. Most things are not. Filter by consequence, not by fear of missing out. Attention is your primary asset. Treat it like one. Smiling, laughing, and softening every edge are subtle appeasement cues. They feel safe because they lower visible tension. They also transfer the burden of comfort onto you. Ethologists describe appeasement displays that reduce conflict inside groups. Humans do this with facial expressions, tone shifts, and filler humor. Overuse creates a pattern where you break tension that you did not create. People learn that you will carry the emotional weight. This feels generous. It is a form of self-erasure. Mirror neurons tune to the calm person in the room when that calm has spine, not when it is a performance. Let silence stand. Keep a neutral baseline. Smile with reason, not by reflex. If something is funny, laugh. If something is not funny, do not perform a laugh track. Your nervous system will stop running hot once you cut the habit. Your voice will drop into a more natural range that registers as steadiness. Authority is a stable signal. Stop making other people's anxiety your problem. Over-explaining and justifying every decision is dressed up as transparency. It reads like a plea for permission. High authority communicates the goal, the reason, and the next step. Low authority prints the entire thought process as insurance against criticism. You burn the listener's bandwidth and you train them to expect access to your private reasoning. Social psychology calls this the illusion of transparency. You feel safer when you share every factor because you think they will then understand you. They do not. They get overwhelmed, then they default to status cues. The person who expects to be questioned gets questioned. The person who expects to be executed on gets executed on. Be ready to explain when asked. Start with the conclusion. Anchor the principle that matters. If you are challenged by someone who has earned the right to challenge you, engage cleanly. If you are challenged by someone who has not, do not dance. The point is to conserve your authority by conserving your words. Tolerating small disrespect to avoid looking confrontational seems strategic. It instructs people to keep escalating. Operant conditioning is basic. Behavior that meets no friction gets repeated. Interruptions, name mispronunciations, jokes at your expense, quiet exclusion from decisions. Each one is minor alone. Together they map your place in the hierarchy. You do not need to punish anyone. You do need to correct reality in the moment. Calmly stop, use the person's name, and continue your point. Calmly correct your own name and keep talking. Calmly return a meeting to the agenda when it drifts into your time. You do not need anger to set a line. You need consistency. People are not mind readers. They are pattern readers. The pattern you allow becomes the rules they follow. Here is the trade. 5 seconds of friction now, or months of quiet corrosion later. Choose the friction. The pull to be polite at any cost usually started early. You learned that appeasement kept you safe. Therapists call one version of this a fawn response. You neutralized threat by erasing your own needs fast enough to keep others calm. That worked when you had no power. You are not a child. You are not confined to old settings. Stoicism draws a clean line between what is up to you and what is not. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you control your judgments. You control your voluntary actions. You do not control other people's approval. If you center approval, you place your peace in a place you cannot command. Authority flips the axis. You define your values, your standards, and your consequences. You then act consistently with them. You correct when reality deviates. No drama, no explanation campaign. Action calibrates people faster than lectures ever will. There is a deeper layer to why these polite behaviors drain you. They increase your cognitive load. Every extra apology, hedge, or justification is a branch you track. Working memory is limited. The prefrontal cortex can only juggle so much before it defers to old patterns. When you waste cycles on managing perception, you have less left for building competence. Competence is the only thing that makes authority defensible. You cannot afford to spill it. There is also a physiological effect. Chronic appeasement elevates stress hormones. High cortisol dampens voice resonance and shrinks risk tolerance. People hear it. People feel it. They cannot name it, but the signal is there. The opposite is not fake dominance. The opposite is internal ground that does not shake at the first sign of tension. Some viewers will try to argue that kindness is always right. They will straw man this as a call to become hostile. That is lazy. The dichotomy is not kind or cruel. The real contrast is indiscriminate niceness or disciplined respect. One posture begs, the other sets a frame where both sides can be clear. Confucius spoke about rectification of names. Call things what they are. When you stop flattering dysfunction, you become more useful. When you stop inflating others to shrink yourself, you become more honest. Truth is not unkindness, it is alignment. In a world where people lie to keep their place, alignment looks aggressive. That is fine. You are not building a brand. You are building a spine. Power tempts people to perform. Do the opposite. Let results talk for you while your communication gets cleaner and fewer. Freud suggested that people default to defense mechanisms when ego is threatened. Over-apology and hedging are defenses that keep the fantasy of harmony intact. Green's law about winning through actions, not arguments, applies here. Use action to reduce your need for defensive words. If your output is real, you have less to explain. If your boundaries are real, you have less to enforce. This is not mystical. This is behavioral math. Expect tests. People test what they can use. They will laugh to see if you laugh. They will interrupt to see if you fade. They will push your response time to see if the gate is open. They are not villains for doing this. They are calibrating. You do the same. You just pretend you do not. Machiavelli observed that it is safer to be feared than loved if you must choose. Modern contexts do not need fear. They need predictability. Predictable consequences are the adult version of fear. People relax around you when they know your lines are simple and they never move. There is an art in replacing these habits without swinging into caricature. You do not need to become blunt to the point of stupidity. You do not need to freeze into a robot. Balanced authority is simple. Speak in statements more than questions when you are not asking for consensus. Ask for input directly when input is useful. Reserve apology for wrongs, not for presents. Reserve thanks for actual help, not for normal interactions. Set your availability around your highest leverage work. Hold neutral eye contact long enough to show you are present. Correct small disrespect calmly. End sentences, then be quiet. The silence does the work. Long term, your aim is to be the same person across contexts. Stoic ethics are not about swallowing feelings. They are about not being ruled by them. If you are stable, you can be kind without losing authority, because your kindness is a choice, not a strategy. If you are stable, you can be firm without being hostile, because your firmness is a principle, not a performance. Others will call this cold. That is projection. Let them talk. You are not optimizing for gossip. You are optimizing for life that answers to you. You will lose some relationships when you stop feeding them this way. Expect it. Some were built on you doing most of the emotional labor. Some were built on you being instantly reachable. Some were built on you apologizing for what others did wrong. When those end, you will feel a brief emptiness. Do not confuse that with a mistake. It is space. Real connections form on clearer terms. If you cannot let go of the need to be liked, none of this matters. You will nod along, then return to the comfort of old habits. That is the majority path. There is no shame in it. There is also no power in it. The minority path is expensive up front and cheap later. You invest in discomfort now so that your days are not rented to other people's moods. That trade is not for everyone. It is for those who want to run their own system. You were taught that politeness buys safety. It bought silence. Politeness used with intent buys respect. The difference lives in the signals you send every day. Stop apologizing for existing. Stop asking for permission to speak. Stop flooding people with reasons. Stop training them to expect your instant response. Stop smiling to make strangers comfortable. Stop praising to be tolerated. Stop absorbing disrespect to keep the peace. Authority is a series of small choices embedded in language and time. If you are still here, you are not trying to look strong. You are ready to become strong. Most will never touch this because it cuts away their favorite excuse. That is the point. Keep watching if you want the rest of the rules the public does not get to hear. Subscribe if you intend to implement instead of admire. The door stays open for a short list. Approval is available everywhere. Authority is not. Choose.